levels, there has been a push towards more centralization, the introduction of more levels of bureaucracy and the accompanying red tape, as well as more attempts to chip away at the Second Amendment. However, at the very same time, you have local levels, many municipalities across the country, moving in the exact opposite direction, declaring themselves to be either constitutional sanctuaries or Second Amendment sanctuaries, and making it such that any effort to infringe on the constitutional rights of those citizens will be treated as criminal activity, even if it's done by either federal or state level officials. Case in point, a week ago, lawmakers over in Indian River County, Florida, which is a conservative leaning county in the eastern part of the state, they unanimously voted to join this movement, and they declare themselves to be a constitutional sanctuary. What that means in practice is that they will protect the rights that are enshrined in both the U.S. Constitution as well as in the Bill of Rights.
We firmly resolve and protect the Constitution of the United States of America because we have to fight against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and to resist any intrusions and the sacred rights to protect the United States of America's Constitution.
Then, speaking to a local news outlet, you had Sheriff Eric Flowers lay out why going constitutional was a necessary step for Indian River County.
We stand by the Constitution. We stand by the guiding principles of our forefathers. And so I feel like, recognizing that versus other places who seem to be going in the complete opposite direction, parts of California, parts of New York that are doing things that we find, that we believe to be unconstitutional. The simplest example to give people is the Second Amendment, right? If the U.S. government decided that they were going to collect up weapons, there's no way in Indian River County that we're going to do that. As a constitutional sheriff, I believe that that's my job to protect that and protect that right, and I'll always do that for our citizens.
And it's worth mentioning that Indian River County is not alone. Going constitutional appears to be somewhat of a new trend for local conservative counties to take. For instance, last year, by a vote of 9-1, the County Board of Commissioners for Ottawa County over in Michigan, they also chose to take the step and to go constitutional. In doing so, quote, "The board has now resolved to not use any funds or resources on enforcing any law or rule that restricts the rights of any law-abiding citizen affirmed by the United States Constitution or to aid any state or federal agency infringing or restricting those rights." And again, this is not a standalone. This is a trend we're beginning to see more and more. For instance, before Ottawa County, the lawmakers over in Cattaraugus County, which is a conservative county in the western part of New York State, they voted unanimously to likewise become a constitutional sanctuary. Specifically, under the piece of legislation that they passed, Cattaraugus County declared itself to be a, quote, "constitutional county, unwavering in its commitment to protect the constitutional rights of its citizens." Furthermore, this county's legislature, they vowed to use, quote, "all legal means at its disposal to oppose unconstitutional efforts to infringe on the rights of the citizens, whether those attacks come from the federal or the state level." And among several other elements, the measure which was passed, it declares that no county employees, no public money, no public resources, and no public buildings will be used to either infringe on the rights of the citizens, nor will they be used to help other levels of government to enforce unconstitutional restrictions. Now, at the time that they did this, one of our reporters here at the Epoch Times, he was actually able to speak with one of the lawmakers over in this county. It was Miss Ginger Schroeder. She was the one who actually drafted and pushed the resolution forward. And here's what she told us here at the Epoch Times, quote, "If the state or federal government continue to overstep their bounds and intrude into the lives of our citizens with unconstitutional mandates, our legislature will step up and challenge that." Ms. Schroeder then further told us
that's what I'm
that
saying.
the constituents in her county, they were becoming fed up with what they viewed as increasingly extreme violations of the Constitution that were coming from both Albany, which is the state capital of New York, as well as from Washington, D.C. And as an example of what she meant by that, she said that during the pandemic, the courts have, quote, "allowed all powers to be assumed by an autocrat," at that time meaning Governor Andrew Cuomo,
And Trump.
not a benign autocrat. It was devastating to our community, and that's why we decided we simply had to do something about this. I'm even willing to engage in civil disobedience. Sometimes you have to stand up to the government. That's what our
Trump
did. if there's an unconstitutional mandate that comes down, I may choose not to comply with that, and I've encouraged others to do so as well. Now, aside from
Trump,
according to multiple other lawmakers from this county that we here at the Epoch Times were able to speak with, they said that the concern of escalating infringements against gun rights specifically was a primary motive behind passing this measure. And in fact, the resolution itself makes that point pretty clear. Here's specifically what it says in part, quote, "The Cattaraugus County Legislature wishes to express its profound commitment to the rights of all citizens of Cattaraugus County to keep and bear arms and proclaim
I'm a mama, they're going to give us our gun rights back. I'm a mama, City of Chicago ain't coming for our guns.
Second Amendment rights. Additionally, the county lawmakers, they said that they vowed to, quote, use all legal means at its disposal to oppose any efforts to unconstitutionally restrict such rights in order to assure that its citizens will be able to keep and bear arms and use the same in defense of life, liberty, and property, whether in a well-regulated militia or individually."
I'm a mama, Trump.
That they laid out here is very similar to the reasons that were given by two other counties over in Nevada, which also took this approach. Just for your reference, the two counties in Nevada which unanimously voted to become constitutional counties were Elko and Lander counties. And according to the resolutions that they passed, they essentially said something very similar to the other counties, that the local governments, which includes both the commissioners as well as the local sheriffs, they will stand against unconstitutional acts by both state and federal authorities.
I'm a mama.
And in terms of what constitutional rights they're referring to specifically, the resolution which came out of Nevada, it was very similar to what came out of both Florida, Michigan, as well as New York. Quote, "The people of these United States are and have a right to be free and independent, and these rights are derived from the law of nature and nature's God. As such, they must be free from infringement
and the Constitution,
and their arms, unreasonable searches and seizures, capricious detainments, and every other natural right, whether enumerated or not, pursuant to the Ninth Amendment."
Constitution, learn the Constitution, everyone, because they're taking it away.
And say that they deny
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are taking away our constitutional rights.
The Bill of Rights and or the U.S. Constitution. Here is what the resolution says in that relevant part. Quote, "We maintain that no agency established by the U.S. Congress can develop its own policies or regulations which supersede the Bill of Rights or the Constitution, nor does the executive branch have the power to make law, overturn law, or set aside law." All right, just a pause here for a moment. I'd like to introduce our new sponsor, Riverside.
I don't got a sponsor. He's not paying me. He's not paying my viewers that sponsor. Sorry. Back to this.
Campus, meet other parents, and see the school in action, or you can actually become something known as an Eagle.
Unless they're going to start sponsoring me. Sorry, we're not making it on my channel.
70% of U.S. counties
I'm broke. I need money. I'm dead ass broke.
This means that the majority of all the
I'm
counties
not
in our
rich,
country,
bitch.
they have either put into place resolutions, specific pieces of legislation, and or the state that they're in has passed constitutional carry provisions. And this movement is quite broad.
Someone in Illinois just won, and they were able to carry a gun with a felony in Illinois. They took it to the Supreme Court.
And the map, just for your reference, is the best that I could do based on the data that I could find. If your county, the one that you happen to live in, is not properly marked on that map, please do leave a comment in the comments section below. I'll be checking those comments regularly. Regardless, though, up on the map, the counties marked in green are those that have passed either Second Amendment resolutions or they have passed legislation declaring themselves to be Second Amendment sanctuaries. The counties marked in blue are the ones that
Notice I was all Southern Illinois.
Which has passed Second Amendment legislation, like, for instance, the state of South Carolina. And those that are marked in purple are the counties that are both inside of a state, which passed Second Amendment legislation, but then the county itself also passed Second Amendment legislation. And so the ones in purple, you can say,
Hawaii's not even on there.
Sanctuary counties. And so, as is quite evident by that map, you have the vast majority of counties across America protected by some form of Second Amendment sanctuary legislation at either the state level or at the county level, or sometimes both. Now, these protections, they come in the form of actual laws in the books, executive proclamations, resolutions, as well as constitutional carry legislation. As an example of what this looks like in practice, up on your screen right now is a proclamation that was issued by the former governor of Nebraska, designating his state to be a Second Amendment sanctuary.
Mama, we got immigrant sanctuary cities. Why not gun sanctuary cities?
Supported our Second Amendment rights. As a symbol of that support, I'm signing a proclamation declaring Nebraska a Second Amendment sanctuary state, and with my signature, it will become official. You also have counties
That's
like
me
Elko
clapping.
and Lander over in Nevada, the same ones we mentioned earlier, which passed their own county level resolutions declaring that the Bill of Rights will be upheld, even if it means standing up against either state or federal level
Oh,
authorities.
yeah.
And I quote, the abuse of the constitutionally protected rights of the citizens will be dealt with as criminal activity. And then, of course, you also have examples like the states of Texas, Ohio, Louisiana,
Oh,
and
yeah.
26 others, which have put into place a constitutional carry law.
We got
which allows
immigrant
the
sanctuary
citizens of those
cities. Why
states
can't we
to
have
carry
gun
handguns
sanctuary
without license,
cities?
because the thinking goes that their license is, after all, just the Second Amendment. However, one thing that's not reflected in that map are all the counties
Gun
where
sanctuary
they don't have
cities.
any legislation or proclamations or resolutions on the books. However, the local sheriffs in those counties, they said that they will not be enforcing infringement on the Second Amendment.
Oh, yeah.
If we look
Kool-Aid
at the
Man.
map,
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
see that in the state of Utah, only a handful of counties have passed Second Amendment resolutions. However,
Okay.
3 years ago, every single sheriff in the whole state of Utah, meaning the sheriff in every single county, they signed a joint letter saying that they will be safeguarding the Second Amendment against
Oh, yeah.
violations. Here's part of what that letter said. Quote, importantly, the Second Amendment of our divinely inspired Constitution clearly states the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Oh,
I
yeah.
hereby recognize a significant principle underlying the Second Amendment. The right to keep and bear arms is indispensable to the existence of a free people.
Oh,
As
yeah.
elected sheriffs, we individually and collectively pledge to do everything within our power to steadfastly protect the Second Amendment and all other individual rights guaranteed by the Constitution. And this resolution, signed again by every single sheriff in the state, really sort of gets to the crux of the matter, because at the tail end of any law that infringes on any right, let's say the Second Amendment right, there has to be a boot on the ground to actually enforce it. Laws
Oh,
don't
yeah.
enforce themselves. At the end of that stick is typically a sheriff or a police officer. However, if every single sheriff just flatly says, I will not be enforcing this type of a law, then in practice, that is exactly what a Second Amendment sanctuary is. A
Like we
place
got
where
immigrant
those types of
sanctuary
laws and those
cities.
type of
Oh,
infringements
yeah.
will just not be tolerated. And so that's where we currently stand. Amidst the backdrop of national and state
Give us our guns back.
who are
Oh,
looking to
yeah.
expand gun restrictions, there
We the
is a
people want our
counter
country
at the
back and we
local
want our
level looking to
Constitution
protect
back.
both the
Oh,
Second
yeah.
Amendment as well as many other rights. If you'd like to read about either these Second Amendment sanctuaries, or if you'd like to learn more about these counties going constitutional,
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
follow the links to my research notes. You'll be able to find them down in the description box below, which I should mention is that description box right below those like and subscribe buttons, both of which I hope
Second
you
Amendment,
to
right to
smash,
bear
so that
arms,
this information
FYI.
reaches ever more people via the YouTube algorithm. And also, after you're done smashing those buttons, I'd love to know your thoughts. Would you be interested in having your own local county become either a constitutional sanctuary and or a Second Amendment sanctuary?
Yes.
Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading them later tonight.
And leave your thoughts in my comments.
And then
Thank
if
you.
enjoy this content,
Like,
well,
subscribe,
I
share,
recommend that
and if
head
you
over
enjoy
to
my
FXTV,
content,
where we have
Cash App
other
me,
great content
money
that is
sign,
available on YouTube,
Samantha,
that goes
loves
deeper
with an
into
S,
this
Johnny.
type of,
I'm
general
broke.
meta topic. The idea
I'm
of
broke,
two
bitch. I need some
trends
money.
happening in this
Send me some
country,
money if
so,
anyone likes my
moving more
videos.
centralization
Because I'm broke.
and
I need a
more,
better camera.
I guess,
And I'm about to be living in a van down by the river.
to the local communities. This sort of a trend. We cover this topic in much greater detail over on Epic TV. So if you want to check it out, I'll throw the link.
Those of you that just tuned in, watch the beginning. I'm going to relet it just go live right now. I'm going to just release it. Watch it. Check it out. Good stuff. Like, subscribe, share, hit that thumbs up, and watch the full video for people that just tuned in. Staring right now.
By doing so,